I'm with Pete Lawrence, National Housing Party candidate for Cornwall. Pete is also our housing spokesman, and Pete is now going to tell us 4 of our important ideas regarding housing policy.
Thanks, Pat. Well, we're outside a beautiful 15th century church, St Piran's Church in Perranwell, which is in my ward. We just thought we'd take a few minutes to explain the basic ideas behind our thinking regarding housing policy and a few of the specific policies themselves. It's an issue that cuts really into the very fabric of society. It's an issue that intersects with many different areas of political life. So you can't unpick the housing crisis with one single policy. They are national policies and there are local policies that can start the slow progression towards rectifying the situation. Some of the wider national policies are hugely radical in today's world. They relate to the issuance of high interest on loans and how we treat money and the mortgage products that we've got available, to the stumbling blocks to actually getting effective social housing built. One of the things that we campaign for would be the nationalisation of the British housing market. So that is one way that we can take some of the demand out of the housing market by removing the influence of foreign ownership for investment purposes. We need to return housing to its original concept of human need and not see it so much as an investment vehicle. Now, that is a very long-term policy and it's a shift in mindset that will take a long time, but we believe our policies are put in place with foundations like that will deliver eventually. Throughout our campaigning here in the local ward, we've come across a person an elderly person, single person, who has found it difficult to find single bedroom accommodation in the area. So in terms of policy in our local campaign, we would seek to review all parish development plans and make sure that they were accommodating enough for enough single bedroom units of accommodation, so that elderly single people or elderly couples could downsize if they wanted to do that, and that would save them on their extra energy bills and it would save them on the extra cost of their council tax. It would also make more efficient use, or the most efficient use, of our existing housing stock, because that family home, if it was a 2 or 3 bedroom property, would then of course be made available for younger families wanting to take in need of that accommodation. So you can take our wider policies and you can see how they underpin actual policies in the local area. We would also seek to put legislation in place to enact the creation of a low interest loan scheme for British house buyers. This would in effect be a British building society that was capitalised through a sovereign wealth fund. This would be funded through the redirection of our other wasteful avenues of spending that the country is presently suffering, namely foreign aid for climate change in Africa, funding of foreign wars which are not in our interest, and extremely expensive wasteful carbon capture projects and other things related to the man-made climate change scam. There's plenty of money available for this, and we would like to see some of those funds redirected into a sovereign wealth fund that could capitalise a British building society, and that would be able to loan out on a not-for-profit basis. So that would mean interest rates of 0.25% or something like that would be available from this building society to British homeowners, and at least a part of their mortgage could then be made up of that element. And that would be enormously helpful for them. And alongside that, we would also introduce longer term mortgage products for those within the British Building Society. we need to get away from this remortgaging every 3 to 5 years. It can have a lot of damaging consequences if interest rates become very high and people are forced to remortgage, and it can lead to price spikes. So longer term products, as are available in America and Canada and Japan, 20 years, 25 years, we think something like 30 or 35 year period of a low interest loan would be very helpful. It would balance out the daily cash flow for young families, and it would mean they'd have more money available actually in the time of life where they need it the most when they're raising their families. So these are just some of the ideas that we're putting forward through the housing policy, which will be written out and on the website in due course. Thank you.